They say charity begins at home. There are so many traits that someone needs to train a kid until they're mature to behave well. Well, not every parent gets that chance, but we have someone here who can help us and the kids out there to know what it means to train character. Mr. Andrew, sir?
Oh, yes.
We are sorry to interrupt you, sir.
It's all right. It's okay.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
It is Transformers Hub here.
Oh, yes.
And since you are the pro when it comes to advising people,
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about training character. What is training character?
Character is the moral, upright behavior of any expected individual in a given society.
Okay.
Character is behavior, but we only turn to appreciate one's character when it is morally upright, when it is accepted in society. Otherwise, the moment you say you're a thief, then we don't even feel like calling it character. Perhaps we have something else to
Not even
call
bad
it.
character, but
We
it's...
cannot even say bad character. We want to say character must really be emulatable, must be cherished. And this is not taught, it is trained.
There's a difference
The
between...
art of behavior is what we are calling character. The art of conduct in a given society. Because conduct may not necessarily be when you're enclosed. It has to be in society. How do you behave? How do you live with others? And we are saying character is not taught.
Yeah.
It is trained. It is trained. And it's not trained at an adult stage. No. This should be right from day one. Day one.
Okay.
Until one gets to a given stage, say past the youthful stage, then you can't do much, you can't add much. That is exactly the person. That is his character, and trust me, this will later define someone's personality.
True.
Oh, yes.
True. That's amazing. And what does it take to train character? What's the whole thing? Because it sounds like it's a lot of it. We're talking this behavior.
The process
this
is
behavior.
not a one day.
Oh.
And the character traits are many.
Okay.
And we can't say this will just be a 1 year. Someone is behaving the expected way in society. No. First of all, we need to know some of these character traits that maybe one would love to know. Because when we say character, fine, you're saying this is the emulatable behavior, expected behavior in society and conduct. How should I conduct myself in society? And how should we train children to have these cherished characters?
And what are they?
And what are they?
Makes sense.
One, listening, the art of listening. Many people don't, as someone is talking, another person is also talking. And this is not gained at an adult stage. I told you in training character, we begin with the child right from day one. That's why we shall later realize that the key person in training character is the parent. Because the child will first stay with the parent. We can even say guardians. But now the problem we are finding, many parents have now lost out their number. They don't play their number. They bounce it to teachers. But the first school in one's life is the home, where we train character. That's why many people quickly summarize it and say charity begins at home. But they forget there are majority, the understanding of charity is something different. Perhaps today, now that we are transforming lives at Transformers Hub, people should understand, they just ought to understand this, that a combination of all these characters we are going to share is what now makes the sense of charity. And it begins from home, not at school. So we're talking about listening. Children must be taught how to listen. Not only listening to the elders, but even listening to their peers.
Each other.
As someone is talking, listen. That's why I think we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. That means we are supposed to do a lot of listening and we do less speaking. So the
That
other
makes sense.
element is friendliness.
Mm.
Children need to be taught how to live with others, because all these things, as we shall later see, they catch up with us as we grow.
That's very true.
And you find someone is not very social,
Yeah.
someone is not friendly at all. But remember, when you're friendly, you can easily fit anywhere.
True.
You come in here, you're already mingling with people of all walks of life because you were trained to be friendly. At a later stage, we are going to talk about how do we train this. Perhaps I want to first build the different traits, but then we shall go into the real art. How do we train these elements? Then generosity.
That's another one.
That is another element. Children need to be taught, even when they're still at a friendly level.
And what is generosity here?
Yes, being, it also goes back to being friendly, the ability to share with others. Even if I only have a small bite of a biscuit, how best can I share with others? Sharing the little they have with the rest. Okay? It is not a question of I must have a lot to give out. But even the little small thing available, can we share it?
Wow.
Then, gentleness. Now, when we say gentleness, many people think it only applies to men.
Because they're trying to become gentlemen.
Yes, should be gentle. No. Even a lady can be gentle. Be calm, especially when you're associating with others. You don't need to be rough, all right? In whatever you do, even if you're cleaning up something, even if you're talking, you can develop the art of being calm. And that is taught. Teaching children not to panic in whatever they are doing, not to rush. Even if I'm handling a car, I can still bring in the art of handling it with gentleness.
True.
By the way, gentleness is not only how you associate with people, no.
They used to tell us, Todduka, mwana gwe todduka.
Yes.
You know.
If I'm holding this car, do I have the art that if I handle it roughly, I can eventually break it?
Break it.
So as I place it on the table, it should not even make noise, by the way. Even when you're walking, your foot on your shoes or slippers should not make sound. So that is being gentle.
Wow.
Then discernment. Can you teach children the art of differentiating between good and bad? Discernment.
Wow.
That at a later point, you're teaching them how to make right decisions. Now, you even sit with them and share, as we shall later see, and then find out, was that good? Yes, you've slapped your friend. Now your friend is crying. Are you happy? And now when you find the child is saying, yes, I'm now happy, then you're grooming a sadist. You're grooming a rebel. Go say sorry. It was not good. It is not good to beat your friend or to take your friend's property.
True.
Take it back.
Yeah.
So the child will grow with, okay, anything that leaves the rest sad is not bad. So let them always yearn at, target or aim at looking at something that will bring joy to others.
Wow.
Oh yes. Then helpfulness. Let us teach children how to help others. Otherwise, people should not be selfish. Especially with the elderly people in the society.
Yeah.
Let us help them. If the grand is carrying something heavy, you can give a hand. Okay. Then honesty. And that is where we are now losing it. We need to teach children to be very honest and very sincere.
That is very
And it begins by speaking the truth. By the way, honest begins with being very true to yourself. You should not be seen working outside who you are. You first be true to yourself. And you even admit, this is what I can do. I can't do this. This is exactly what happened. You don't need to create stories around to either justify your own selfish interests. If it is something, if it is money especially, people lose it out when it comes to the temptation of money. And this should be taught when the child is still at an early stage. Humility. How do you feel, especially when the rest are either sad? How do you feel about the rest? Actually, it comes from being human. The sense of human. Treat others the way you would equally love to be treated. If it brings sadness to the rest, then you should not do it. Do to others what you would exactly love to be done to you. Treat others the way you would equally love to be treated. If beating someone, you wouldn't equally love to be beaten, then why should you beat others? Why should you abuse others? Obedience. Children must be taught how to be obedient, how to listen to others.
That's a very important
Okay, how to respect. So then the other thing is orderliness, especially at home. This cup is meant to be in the cupboard. Why should it be in the bedroom? This phone is supposed to be here. All these plates are supposed to be taken to the sink. So orderliness. These chairs are supposed to face this position. Then the child grows with that art of how the whole arrangement, the layout in the house, and it should be respected. Then patience. And we are losing it out. Patience and actually perseverance. Children, we are going to go into all of this. How do we train children this? Self-control. Being thankfulness. When you give a child something, do they say thank you? Or they just grab and run? When I give you a sweet, it could be as simple as a sweet, but that is my first test. Do you step back to say, thank you, mommy? Thank you, daddy? Or the child just runs away? Because when you don't train the child to always bounce that other word, thank you. By the way, saying thank you does not necessarily mean someone must have given you material possession. It could just even be a piece of advice. And you say, oh, thank you. Maybe I didn't know that. Thank you. Every other thing, the moment someone adds value to you, you ought to say thank you. And we used to call this the magic words. Then thriftiness. This is not very common. Thriftiness. It's not a very good character, rather a common character, but we need to teach people how to carefully spend. The art of careful spending.
Wow.
Not that one must be trained to be very mean. But if you have 20,000, how does this take you through a week? Train children not to spend whatever they have for that single day. If this is the food available, how does it take us through the next 3-4 days?
Wow.
So even if you left them with a loaf of bread, it should not be all eaten at a go in one meal or one round. But how can it take us breakfast and maybe evening tea, or even to see us into the next day?
True.
So that careful and intelligent spending.
Wow.
Not necessarily with money, but using everything sparingly.
The resources available.
Yes, the available resources sparingly. So those are being kind to others, kindness, courtesy, fairness, courage. The ability to know I must carry on. Yes, today it didn't work out. I always tell people, until failure is part of learning.
It is.
Failure is part of success. These are some of the things we should train children. That even when you're disappointed today, that does not make you a disappointment.
Don't commit suicide.
Don't commit suicide. Life has to continue. So those are some of the characters we ought to train our children. And quote me right, I insist not to teach, but to train.
To train.
When you look at a footballer, they don't teach football.
No.
They train football.
They do.
If a dog must perfectly hunt or give you the needed security at home, this is not taught. You don't just sit with the dog and maybe do illustrations on the chalkboard. No. You train the dog how to hunt.
The other major question would be, who trains character?
Oh, yes.
Because it doesn't look like it's a simple thing to do.
It is just not something simple.
But then who is responsible for all these traits mentioned above?
Oh, yes. This is collective effort. And I regularly say it takes a village to groom a child.
Not two parents.
It is beyond. But just like I always look at football, the striker does it all. But then we can't underscore the contribution of these other players.
Sure.
Now, even in grooming or training character, we truly put the entire responsibility in the hands of the parents. But at times we forget one thing. Who is the parent? Now, this is beyond the biological parents. But then it takes us back to all the stakeholders in the community. This could be the local leaders, it could be the religious leaders, but then we have to agree the people at the forefront are the parents who stay with the children from day one. And most of the time, the children are at home. So it is on rare cases that they go to church. Perhaps that is once a week.
For sure.
And that is where maybe I still call upon religious leaders to also be part of the team that trains character. Then we take it back today specifically and we zero down to the parents at home. Because as we said from the beginning, charity begins at home. Oh yes.
I remember the days ago, most of our parents told us that, it was always with the community people. You would be walking in the village and eating sugar cane.
Oh yes.
A typical stranger in the community would stop his bike, put you down, give you 2 or 3, 5.
Oh, yes.
You go back home. And then he will take the responsibility to also come home and tell them, oh, Mr. Sewankambo, your son was eating sugar cane along the way. So Sewankambo would add you more 3. In the present day and age, that looks like a little bit impossible.
It's truly dying out. But I think that is why even character and morals are fading. Because you've just cited out that example. Someone finds you in the community eating sugarcane. Does not only stop at telling you it's bad, but goes ahead to at least give you 2 or 3 strokes of the cane. Now the strokes of the cane is the training.
Yeah.
There is the other element of teaching that it's bad to eat while walking or to walk while eating. But then goes ahead to give you some 2 strokes. The training has been done.
It's to the pain.
After all,
you remember
even the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. Now what is happening today? We have spared the rod and we are spoiling the children. But then we have agreed, besides the parents being at the forefront, it is a collective responsibility. Let all the stakeholders in the community, teachers, by the way, in schools, inclusive,
they spend more time with kids today.
Yes, because they also have that other time they spend with the children at school.
A lot of it.
The only pain behind is that the biological parents at home have gone ahead to restrain teachers at school, to even block them from training a character. Because I say character is trained. If the child is not honest, sometimes it goes beyond just talking. Some actions must be done. But then you find at the end of the day, parents don't want anybody to train, and they cannot also train the character. And then children are growing when they are not morally upright, when they are a destitute to the community. Oh yes.
One must understand one thing, that as much as we discuss this, there is the how factor.
Oh yes.
Because the how is the hardest in every kind of way. How does one instill all of these traits in a child?
Oh yes. I want to give you a simple tips on how to train character. 1, be a role model. Now, who should be the role model? These are the parents at home.
Yeah.
Display positive character before the children. For example, be honest. They find it's the father speaking A, practicing B. It's the father who is caught stealing. Now, what will the children take? Be kind. Be empathetic. When the child says, oh, I'm not feeling well, how do you come in? Oh, sorry, it's so bad. Daddy, my friend is not feeling well. My friend has a problem. Oh, sorry, what should we do? So the child grows knowing that when someone has a problem, we must come in and provide a solution. We must also feel the way they feel.
Wow.
So that is being, you the father, you the mother, you must be the role model. Respect, the respect, the way you behave before other children. And they will also learn. Otherwise, how can you teach children to respect others when you don't respect their father? You abuse the father. And that is how the children will also pick bad vocabulary that is beyond their age. So parents in our special behaviors at home before the children, by the way, what the monkey sees, it's what it does.
Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do. So what the children see the parents do, that is exactly what they will carry on. Then the other thing, teach moral values to the children. Train them. Clearly communicate and discuss moral values with your children. Explain the importance of qualities, like we have said, honesty, integrity. By the way, integrity, the best definition of the integrity is doing the right thing without minding whether people know that it's you who did it or not. You just go ahead and do the right thing. I don't care. For example, cleaning up. I don't need to have supervisors, or I should first call journalists to say that I'm cleaning. No. Doing it right without even being watched over. So these are things we should teach children. Fairness, being responsible, use the age-appropriate language. I'm underlining the word age-appropriate language to the children. Otherwise, you find children at the age of 5, but their vocabulary is at the age of 10, the diction. Then you know these words were picked from the elders.
5 is a little too much. I was watching a video on TikTok recently, and there was a kid, actually an American kid. So the kid comes in class, 20 of them, the parents are seated on the side. So the teacher comes, good morning. This very little boy had one of the most abnormal responses to the teacher. It was so bad. Like everyone was like, oh. And then the teacher tried to tell him, that is not good, that is not good to be said. And then the kid was like, shut up, but with the B word. It's a female teacher. The kid is less than 3 or 4. The parents were like, hey, enough. Get the kid out of the class.
Such embarrassment. And that shows you that even this is done at home, and parents just look on. They don't condemn evil at the right age. And at times we just glorify kids and we even inspire them. Then set clear expectations and boundaries to the children. This is now the part of the training we're talking about. You've gone out at 1 o'clock. I expect you at 5.
Curfew time.
You are not supposed to go to the other side. You're now setting boundaries. You are expected to come back home at 4. I'm now looking at just the time out and time in, but you've set clear boundaries and expectations. You're not supposed to go beyond this. And explain the consequences. Walking at night, these are the related dangers. You go to the discotheque, you go to such a place, these are the associated problems. Such that the child knows why I should behave at this time. Don't walk at night. The child will grow well knowing walking late in the night is dangerous. So you must explain why ABC should not be done. Now maybe where we have a gap is that we give restrictions to the parents, or rather the children, the boundaries, without explaining why. And that is why in our true African culture, we had so many other proverbs around some of these characters. Don't do this. When you do this, it gets into this. So they have their own stories around, but there is a character or the training they exactly intended to achieve. Then encourage empathy. Encourage empathy. Encourage children that please learn how to say sorry to others. So when the child says, the other one has beaten me, you say, go and say sorry. All right? There is a problem. I mean, this should be trained at home. So they know how to feel bad when others are equally feeling bad. And how to sympathize with others. So then the other thing is foster the sense of responsibility. Train children to be responsible for their own deeds. Who did this? Go clean up that place. You left it in a mess. Go clean it up. And I should not find it dirty next time. using rather a tough tone is not bad. And I'm not saying every other thing goes with chibok.
No.
Sometimes it can just be tone variation.
True.
And the child gets to know this is bad.
I remember one thing, I've grown up with a couple of stepmothers. The one died when we were a little too young, so we didn't literally get to know her very well. But the next one we had was very smart. You know, she only used to look at you a certain way, and you would know this is wrong.
It can just be a look.
You should just,
you automatically know there is
wrong.
a problem.
Yeah.
There is a problem.
Yeah.
Of course, in the fostering the sense of responsibility, you can even give children age-related tasks. Encourage them to be part of the housework. Today, you're supposed to be the one cleaning. Today, you're the one cleaning up the utensils. Today, you're the one washing this. They should not look at it as a punishment, but they're just being responsible. That when you dirty your clothes, it is your mandate to have them washed. If you have used the plates and they're now dirty, it is not any other person's responsibility. It is you. And in any case, doing it is okay. Then encourage honesty and accountability. I gave you how much?
10,000.
10,000. You bought this for 5,000, the other for 2,000. Where is the balance? No. Balance should be put there. How much did you use?
This is.
Yes, you find that the child knows I'm supposed to return this amount left, but the child is still keeping it somewhere. Or you leave something on the table, especially money.
Oh yeah.
Should I find it missing?
Very
Who picked it? Who picked it? They don't pick what they have not given you. That is where when the child will even learn at school that if this is not my cup, I should not even get closer to it.
True.
Now, at the end of the day, the child is trained not to steal. But it began with simple tasks at home. That's why I say the biggest responsibility is with us, the parents, not the teachers. Then, teach resilience and perseverance. I have seen a challenge, especially with the generation we now have. Any other small challenge, the child wants to commit suicide. The child wants to give up. All successful people were former failures. And failing is part of training. When you fail today, it's just an opportunity given to you to think big, to try it out in another style. So children should be taught that when you are disappointed with bad results, that does not mean you are now a total disappointment. Don't quit.
I've seen some of them fail. You fail senior 4. They say, no, go back again.
Yes.
Repeat a year. You realize that most of these people change for sure. There could have been a reason why you didn't perform well.
Yes, they should learn that. Maybe the other time it didn't work out. Maybe now let me do it this other time.
Was it the school? Was it this? You know, they become smart on how to really go through
that is one thing we are supposed to train children, overcoming challenges and setbacks. Teach them that mistakes are learning opportunities. When you commit a mistake, or even when she has done something, you say, fine, that was wrong, but I think you can do better. Next time, try it this way. Maybe it didn't work out because you did not add in this. So that the child knows, yes, sometimes things don't work out. We're supposed to eat meat today, we are going to have beans, we didn't get money. And should the child try to throw tantrums, you say, excuse me, not every day is a day of celebration. Today, things didn't work out. Let us go with what is available. So the child knows that once in a while, things don't work out as expected. But that is not a reason to die.
That's a good one.
Then promote positive social interactions. Positive social interactions. If they want to go play with their friends, yes, allow it. But then with precautions. Let them learn how to cooperate, how to share, and respecting others and even their views. That's why I'm realizing a challenge, because we say these things later catch up with us in life. There are those who later take different professions and they imagine they are on top of others, especially people in the forces, because they trained how to use a gun. They imagine they are on top of everyone, even when they're just using the roads. You're already seeing their messes. They feel they're the ones with the right of way. But they forget that there are those who trained medicine, that with just take a small tablet, someone can finish your life, if not given in the accurate way, or if a wrong tablet is given to you. Someone does not need to use a lot of force. It can just be a small dose of the injection and you're finished. But remember, even the one we are celebrating for having done medicine was taught by a teacher. So meaning the teacher should be the cause for all this pride. But we must appreciate even individual differences. Teach children, if at home you have a television set and the other side they have a different one, they all broadcast the same
content.
thing. If your friends have a Prado and for us here we have a small Corona, we all travel the same distance and we get to the desired destination the same way.
I think one of the reasons why that is very, very important is we have come to a generation of politics, which we maybe didn't understand very well growing up. But now you realize that people are so angry for the fact that you don't believe in what they believe in. One of the biggest reasons we have scuffles and deaths and hatred, and people don't even talk, because if I am reason
the same way, we must be the same. Let me tell you, and maybe teach one thing. If we were all to be the same, this world wouldn't be where it is.
For sure.
In any case, it would be a very boring world. There wouldn't be any innovations and renovations. But God created us two different. So that as you take the line of ICT, someone takes a different line, another goes into engineering, another, so that we, at the end of the day, put all these talents and skills together to beautify this world. So parents out there, now that we are dedicated to transforming lives, they should know transforming lives or training character is a process. It is not a one-day activity. It takes time, patience, consistency, perseverance. As you see the child grow. The Bible says, when I was young, I used to think and act like a young child. Now I'm a grown-up. Now the patience I'm talking about, many parents want children to behave like the parents who are now at the age of 40. But they forget that this child is still at 10. What you're seeing today at the age of 40, the other child is at 10. The child still needs more 30 years to perceive it, understand the way you're seeing it. That brings me to patience. And at times, some of these things are understood with the time. So we need to be very consistent. And we reinforce. Now, reinforcement brings me to the element of pressure and force. When training character, the element of force must come in. I said you must do this. And it is that, no debate. But now what is happening? We have done a lot of listening to our children. But we forget they have only walked 5 years or 5 miles, the life journey. There is a lot they have not yet seen. Now, you who has seen it, you cannot prepare them for life tomorrow. You want to listen to them. They want to go out and you quickly allow that. We want to do this. We want to do this. So precisely we have agreed to be role models in whatever we do. Teach moral values like being honesty, integrity, reinforce positive behavior. Reinforce. Now, parents don't want to hear that, but it's a reinforcement of positive behavior. That sometimes when you steal, I'll say, go down. And take back what you stole. That is now reinforcement. Encouraging empathy and perspective, setting clear expectations and boundaries, foster a sense of responsibility, all right? And you realize, or we can even encourage critical thinking. Critical thinking. Now there is a person. What should we do? Bring them on table. What should we do? They give you their opinions. Listen to them. And say, for you, Jonah, what do you have to say?
What do you think?
And for you, what are you saying? So that you allow them, you give them chance to also think. And at times you listen to their opinions. Next time when you're not around and they have a problem, they will be able to use that skill to think bigger, think outside the box. You say, today I don't have money. What should we do? How should we have food? It could just be a teasing moment. But you are giving them chance to also use their brains so that they know in life there is a time you need to run out of the puzzle, to use the brain.
I think that is
Oh,
very,
yes.
very, very, very important when it comes to patience. One thing I want to note out about patience is that we've grown in a generation today where we are more of a global village. So we're super exposed to everything. With patience today, the reason why people are stealing and then corruption and stuff is you find a 30-year-old boy who wants to be as rich as a man who is 70. And I'm like, okay, the guy is 70, is 40 years more than you are. At 30, if you could ask him
How he was at your age, you realize that he had nothing. Now that means the child was not trained to be patient. The child was not trained to be contented with what they have. If the neighbor has a big pen, a very beautiful pen, or a beautiful bag, now this is trained while they're still here. For you have a weak bag, they all carry the same content to school.
And there is a reason why the other is big and
school
small.
A and you're going to school B, you are all studying the same syllabus.
True.
So accept and believe in yourself. Your neighbor has a car, for us we have a small one, or we don't have, we shall also get. The other one has been given 20,000. For you learn how to use the 10,000 you have. So this is when our parents are losing it. Sometimes parents are on tension to provide
very much
what they cannot even afford. Teach children to fit within what is available. That is when they will be contented. That is when they will believe in themselves. That is when you will control, vaccinate the habit of stealing. That is how we can train character. And we insist it is trained at an early stage. But even teachers at school, because there will be a time when children are not at home, but they're at school. I want to leave you with one word. Intelligence plus character. That is the true education. So education without character is also useless education. Even when you say I'm an intelligent man, but without character, character sets everything in life. And if one must fit in society, it goes back to your characters. Oh yes.
These seem like normal things on paper.
Oh yes.
You think that, oh, whoever is ready to become a parent should be able to know this and then apply it. So the question is, why do you think society or parents or teachers really fail to instill these very, very important aspects of character in the kids today?
They don't know what to do.
The parents.
No, it is a very big puzzle. Many people confuse producing children to be parenting.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone can produce a child.
Yeah.
Trust me, even street beggars have children.
They do.
But we cannot call them parents. Many people think having a child qualifies you to be a parent.
No. That's a very big misconception.
Yes. You only qualify to be a parent when you have the ability to impart the morals.
Wow.
The character. To train the character.
Wow.
In the child. That is actually parenting. Whatever we have been discussing is parenting. And we say it's a process.
It is.
Now, having all these values imparted in a child, it costs something. You must have time for the child. Do parents have the time?
But not anymore.
You must be very patient because this is a growing child. Every other day the child is learning something new.
At every stage of development.
And at every stage the child is discovering something. You must be consistent. You cannot say A on Monday and then you're speaking C on a Tuesday. By the time you get into Friday, you're speaking F. We say it calls for being a role model. But then when you find the parent is also rotten, I'm using the very word. I don't know whether a broken mirror can return or repair faded beauty. So the moment the parent is also morally a damage to society, a menace to society, then you don't expect, for example, the parent is a drunkard. What product do you expect at the end of the day? The parent speaks with a lot of obscenity. What do you expect of the child, of the offspring? So it takes us back. Parents don't have time for the children. Maybe they don't even know. Teachers are not also bothered. Religious leaders think it's only about preaching
The gospel.
the gospel. But when you summarize the gospel, it takes us back to one thing: character.
Yeah.
Because whichever message that is in the Bible was geared towards building character.
True.
But I think they have not gone ahead to sink the message into the children. That's why we have written in society that without shame, someone can steal iron sheets. And someone is taken to courts of law. Within no minute, the person is set free. So you ask yourself, where did this, who did not play the right card at the right time? Someone stands on social media and abuses the world. You've seen this.
Yeah.
So who should train this? The government has not done its part. People are messing up with social media. Someone can post anything without scrutinizing it.
Wow.
And posts. You find people are having an open quarrel on social media. Someone can afford to walk naked. Look at how the women are dressing up. Where did they lose the dose of integrity? Watch your dress code. Even the Bible condemns nudity.
It does.
So it is, I take it back to every other stakeholder. I have the pain, and I want to leave all the followers of Transformers have. There is one question we have at heart. The grandparents handed over a morally upright generation
That's true.
to our parents.
That's true.
The parents also handed over the mantle to us. And we can sit back and cause comparison. And we see there is a generation we lost.
We did.
There is a very morally upright society we can no longer see.
Yeah.
Now, it is our responsibility and those listening out there to hand over a morally upright generation to our children than blaming, finger pointing at anyone, and we say children of this generation. That is the common word.
Yeah.
This is a rotten generation. But
But
who made this generation rotten? Because we are blaming people who do not have any generation to cause comparison. This is what they have grown seeing. But me and you listening out there, you can comfortably tell that our parents did not do this. We grew up without seeing this, meaning they helped us get into a generation that was morally upright. You can't parent when you are not parented, because we keep drawing comparison. This is how we're trained. But is it the way you're training your children? We are trained to be very patient and be contented with what? With the little we had. For example, when we were growing up, we used to see some people holding phones and we couldn't afford, and did we steal?
we waited.
And we did not die.
No.
So today we have lived to enjoy every other latest model. And life is comfortable. But you want to give your child a iPhone at the age of P4. Never teach children to spend until you have taught them how to earn. Never teach children how to spend until they have mastered the art of earning. The child will quickly spend 100, can even spend 1 million. But if they begin by learning how, or training them how to earn 1 million, and it takes them 2-3 weeks or a month plus to earn 1 million, then they cannot blow it in one day.
That's true.
Teach the children, keep your children in the right path, that even when they grow up, they'll never leave that path. The Bible says so. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. And to the viewers out there, well, I didn't get a chance to have amazing information like this when I was growing up, but one thing that changed my mind was a quote that I read somewhere. Seeing is believing. What you see is what you believe. Show these kids what they should believe. Thank you very much. It's been Transformers Hub. My name is Andrew, and he's Andrew, surprisingly, but he's Mr. Cheney Andrew, who basically does the whole mentorship here. Follow us again on all our social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere. We're with you. Check our website to see what we do more. See you any other day from now. Bye.